Hello, my name is Sharia, and this is my second vlog. And no, I can't say it any faster than that. Shut up. Today I wanted to talk about something that I just learned about today, and I thought it was extremely interesting and worth discussing. And it is the concept of a flipped classroom. The concept of education in general is interesting to me because I work part-time as a private tutor, and as somebody who is really passionate about reading and literacy, this is something that interests me. So the concept of a flipped classroom is essentially the idea of switching places. So instead of the student going home and doing homework, which is typically the concept that they've learned in class put into practice in some sort of activity, instead of that kind of homework, what the student will do is go home and watch a presentation that the teacher has put together previously, like a video recording, a slideshow, a PowerPoint presentation, anything like that. They go home and they watch the presentation, and they are essentially taught the material at home as their homework. Then they go to school, and during class time, the teacher leads the class through the practical application of that concept, through activities, through the stuff that they would usually be doing at home by themselves as homework. And I'll put a link down at the bottom so that you can see the discussion that I read today about the flipped classroom. But basically, the results are astounding. Every time that this concept is put into practice, the students' participation, their participation goes up. Their tendency to drop out goes down. And this is a huge issue today because it doesn't come as a surprise to anybody who lives in America, and I'm not bashing America when I say this, but our education system is broken. It works for a small percentage of the population who are academically inclined and who like the particular style of learning that is executed most of the time, but for the other whatever percentage of students, they're falling between the cracks, they're falling behind, they're dropping out, they're losing interest, they're learning to hate things that they should love, that they should be interested in, that they should find themselves passionate about, because they're being taught the wrong way. And I'm not saying that the majority of teachers out there today are doing a bad job. I love teachers. I had a lot of great teachers. I also, like most of you, had some that were not so good. And it didn't always come down to the teacher themselves, but to the way that they were teaching me. So this concept of a flipped classroom is fascinating to me because it's so simple if you really think about it. Switch the homework with the lecture. Now think about if you've ever done an online course, or if you've ever experienced any kind of charter school, a vocational school, a Montessori, any other kind of school, and what you will notice is that the emphasis in the classroom is put on a child being self-directed and focused on activity, on something hands-on, something that they can do, something that they can learn and put into a practical use rather than taking notes. And what I learned when I took an online class on linguistics is that I have no problem teaching myself a concept when it's presented to me in an understandable way, which it was. I got that stuff down, partly because I'm a nerd and I thought it was fascinating, but partly also because we don't need help reading when we get to that point. Obviously, probably up through 5th or 6th grade, a kid needs to be taught how to learn, right? But once you know how to learn, once you know how to read, you know how to process abstract concepts, you know how to express your own thoughts in a way that other people can understand, and you don't need to be taught the same way anymore. Now you've moved on to a more advanced stage of learning and learning how to interact with your world using those abstract concepts. So why hasn't the flipped classroom model been implemented in schools across the nation? Well, I'm not an expert on the matter, but my guess is that it mostly comes down to the fact that school boards need to form a task force to make any kind of change whatsoever. What are the things that are tax dollars and the majority of the thinking power is being put towards? benchmarks, benchmark testing, how many students can fit in one school, the size of classrooms, all of this, the quantitative stuff that's important, but what's more important? Actually learning the material in a way that is going to help you throughout your entire life, or whether you have first lunch or second lunch. The point I'm getting at is that our education system is due for a serious change. And I don't want to get into it too much here, but that's part of the reason why I myself have not become a teacher. I love teaching. I'm passionate about it. I love working with kids. And a lot of people have said to me, why haven't you become a teacher? And this is why. And I know it's really cynical and you have to be involved to be able to make any changes, but I just can't get myself involved in that system because it's broken and it needs a serious reform, and to be honest, I don't see that happening anytime soon. So what I have been putting my energy toward is the alternatives. If we can't change the system, what can we do to get around it? And that's why I became a private tutor. Is because when those students are falling through the cracks during class time, after school, they need somebody to catch them. And I have found a lot of fulfillment and a lot of enjoyment doing that. But that's not really the point. The point was to talk about this flipped classroom model and to ask you your opinions and to see what other people's experiences have been in the traditional classroom. It worked okay for me. I came out decent. I didn't get straight A's. I didn't even get straight A's and B's. I did get some C's. Nothing below that or I would cry. But I came out of the education system feeling a little bit jaded. And that seems strange to me because I love learning. I love reading. I love writing. I hate math. And science is okay. But the point is that our students shouldn't be coming out of the system feeling jaded, feeling cheated. Why is it that my students who are incredibly brilliant, smart kids are getting F's and D's? It can't possibly be because they're stupid. It's because they're not doing their work. And I don't think it's because every single one of those children is lazy. I think it's because the work is not being presented to them in a way that makes them care. And it's not being presented to them in a way that they can grasp onto. They go home and they have homework and maybe they don't understand a concept, so they get frustrated and they give up. And they just check out. I've seen it over and over and over. And it makes perfect sense for us to just flip this around. Let the kid go home and do the mindless task of watching the video at home in the comfort of their bedroom on their own time, and where they can doodle to their heart's content or pause the video and go and have dinner, pass notes with their friend, and still understand the material because they can rewind it if they need to. They can slow it down, they can pause, they can take notes, they can do whatever it takes for them to process that material, and then go into classroom and let the teacher do what they've been trained to do, which is teach the child, not spew facts at the child and tell them to write them down and then test them on them. So I'm going to stop there, but I'm really interested to hear other people's opinions of this. And what do you think should be done about it? Do you think that we should go about trying to change the system as it is? Or do you think that it's time for us to start exploring some alternative routes, like homeschooling, like alternative schools, like supplements, like tutoring, in addition to a traditional education? I would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching.